because the outside world rejects you.
Hey, what's up, Turtles fans? So there was an article that came out, I think it was like during the summer. I was meaning to cover it back then, but for whatever reason, I got caught up with other stuff and we didn't cover it here on the channel. But I want to cover it today just because a few days ago we got word that Netflix and Nickelodeon, had signed this multi-year deal where they could use, intellectual properties to make original content now for Netflix. So that in turn makes this article from back then a little more enticing and worth talking about today, a few months after, but you'll know what I'm talking about once I start talking about it, how it makes sense with this Netflix Nickelodeon deal, and if possibility, maybe they could have known something before all of us. But if you're new to the channel and you want more Ninja Turtles updates, videos on like lore, character profiles, stuff like that, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. That's all we talk about here on this channel. Now, I just want to start off with a disclaimer. I want to say, don't get your hopes up. This is just speculation, us looking at different articles, and just assuming, guessing. This is not fact. This is not gonna happen. Not yet. But this is just us having a little bit of fun with an older article and messing around with the idea of something like this possibly happening. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we get started. This would be a pretty cool thing if it did happen, but let's take a look at it. Okay, yeah, this was back on June 11th of this year, so in the summertime. Yeah, I wanted to cover it. I was super busy at the time. I was working a job and doing this, trying to do both. Not anymore. I've never told you guys, but I'm doing this like solely now. This is all I do. Everyone told me, no, don't do it. And I said, God damn it, we're going to talk about turtles. So here we are. So let's go over the article real quick. This is over on denofgeek.com. And you can see the header there says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles interviews Ciro Nieli. If for those of you who don't know, that is the producer of the 2012 Ninja Turtles series. Anyways, underneath that it says, in quotes, "I feel like it will come back someday." What could he possibly be talking about? Let's dig deeper. So the interview starts off with him talking about, his book that he released this year, or that they released this year, about his series, this 2012 series, which I happened to receive as a gift by a good friend of mine. And it's a really good book. If you're a fan of the series and you haven't picked it up, you got to pick it up. Anyways, later on in the interview, he goes on to talk about his experience on the show, what it was like, and how it kind of brought popularity back to the Turtles. I mean, the 2012 show is done very well, and there might be some fans out there that just, for whatever reason, never gave it a shot. I was one of them, by the way. I was a huge fan of the 90s movie, the 87 cartoon, the 2003 show I watched. I liked the animation style in the earlier seasons, and I kind of fell off in the later seasons when I was younger. But when the 2012 one came out, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of the art style. It wasn't until a while later that I actually gave it a shot, and actually it became one of my favorite iterations of the Turtles. So it's one of those shows that you definitely got to give it a shot if you're not a fan of the art style. It's a shame that it didn't go on longer, to be honest, now that I think about it. Anyways, he talks about the departure of Jason Biggs, the original voice actor for Leonardo, and how it was very sad that they didn't want to see him go. Then comes the interesting part. They start talking about how finally the 5th season, which was rebranded as Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, was made up of a series of standalone multi-episode mini-movies, is what they called it here in this article. Which, for a lot of you who have seen the show, that's exactly what it is. And the quote from Nieli afterwards is, "With the writing on the wall that we were coming to a close, I had hoped that it would serve as an example that the team that was involved could make anything, because they, Nickelodeon, don't have a straight-to-video format like Warner Brothers, where they put out maybe 4 movies a year." We're talking about like animated movies. So my thing was, let's use the Turtles as an example, as proof of concept that we can make anything. We can keep making stuff because everybody was so talented and ambitious, the people that were working on the Turtles at the time. Then he closes off by saying, of course, in the end, that didn't happen, but what did happen was we made some really intense shows and we got exhausted. The article says right after that, it says, since the resolution of Nieli's show, the 2012 show, Nickelodeon announced straight to Netflix Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and Warner Brothers released a direct-to-digital Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. It's hard to shake the feeling that Nieli's message was heard, but perhaps not quite in time, is what the article says. Then it says right under that, that's unfortunate because just so happens that he did had an idea that he liked. Then we get another quote from Nieli. It says, I had pitched a feature not unlike the one that has been announced now for Netflix. That was a standalone story about the return of Kraang. Whoa. Apparently he still sounds excited about this idea. The quote continues, I wanted to tell something that was quiet and creepy and slow, like a body snatcher story or The Blob, taking the tropes of all these great 80s horror films like John Carpenter ones. I really wanted to do a sci-fi horror film starring the turtles as they were older, but that never happened. Then the article says, while it's clear that he feels a strong connection to his show, it's also clear that when it wrapped, it was time to move on. Wild, right? It's wild now because we're in this time now where the doors could be open for something like this to happen with Netflix now. I don't know the exact details of the deal, but I would imagine funding some of these projects they have agreed to do with Nickelodeon. That's just me guessing though. I have no idea what the details are of the deal. But, at the end of the day, Nickelodeon is a business, and for whatever reason, they got to make decisions. They didn't do this animated movie because funding probably. It wasn't in the budget, so it got placed on a shelf. But now, if this Netflix Nickelodeon deal provides some kind of help, this is one project that might be worth looking into, among many other Turtles projects. Turtles is such a big thing that I'm kind of taken back by how little they do with it. It does kind of feel like that's changing though. I don't know if it was because this year was the 35-year anniversary of the Ninja Turtles, and that's the reason why, but this year's been pretty solid for Turtles fans, but I feel like I could get even better, and I hope it wasn't just because of the 35-year anniversary. I hope they noticed that there's still a hunger out there for Turtles, especially in the 20-year-old, 30-year-old, even 40-year-old market. That's something where it's just all demand but very little supply. Anyways, let's go back to the article here. It looks like he had some trouble even conceiving the thought of doing a different type of Turtles without the original cast. The quote goes, the idea of replacing the cast, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't see the Turtles with any other voices, so I decided I didn't want to be a part of that. I believe he's talking about the Rise show that ended up coming out afterwards. And then it says, but looking forward to the future, if they asked, even a few months ago, to do the Turtles movie that's on Netflix, but if it was an original iteration, a whole new rethink of the Turtles universe just as a one-shot idea, I would have probably done it. Now the article goes on and says now Nieli anticipates that he'll be tied to his new show for a few years. Apparently he's working on a new show, pushing a potential return to Turtles back, at least for the time being, but there might be a way he'd make an exception. Then he says down here in a quote, I would if I could the story that I told you about, the return of Kraang, and it would have been my original cast aged up. I'd probably make that in the midst of other stuff. I just think that would be a fun opportunity, and I think people will miss those Turtles a little bit, That's an interesting quote, and just from what I take away from it, the reason I feel like he would work on that one and not the like an original rethink of the Turtles universe, kind of how he said in the earlier quote, is he's probably tied up now in other projects, but doing the 2012 Turtles is probably a little easier for him considering he's got all the character models ready to go, the city models ready to go, at least for the most part. The actors are already there. I feel like that's why, and this is just me guessing, I have no idea, that's why he would still do that one today, because he's probably tied up with other contracts, probably other jobs, but in between he could probably squeeze in like 2012 stuff because the foundation is already there, if that makes sense. At least that's what I'm guessing. That's what I'm taking away from the article. I'm not really sure. Although I'm not gonna lie, I would love to see Nieli's vision on a whole new version of the Turtles. I would much rather see that, to be quite honest, but I'll take what I can get from this guy because he won me over with the 2012 series. Now, the last quote is what gives everybody a little bit of hope that this may happen one day, and I believe he is talking about the 2012 Turtles. He says, I feel like it will come back someday. If it does, I would have to play some part in it. I would probably be like 70 years old though. See what happens. I might need a job then. And that's where it ends. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that we'll ever see those Turtles return? That'd be pretty interesting. We did see Nieli, at Comic-Con with Eastman and the guys from Rise this past summer. Yeah, he's still hanging around, and there was that tweet, which looking back, they might have been messing with us, but maybe something's coming. Maybe that idea he had about that Kraang movie, or maybe something bigger. We'll just have to wait and see. But just a fun little article I wanted to share and read with you guys. If nothing, just a stroll down memory lane with the 2012 Turtles. But let me know down below, what do you think? Thanks everyone for watching. Please hit subscribe if you're stumbling across this video and you're not subscribed yet and you want more Turtles updates, videos on lore. I do Turtle profiles where I go over all the different characters in the Ninja Turtles universe and kind of give you a backstory on like the actors that play them, stuff like that. So hit subscribe if that's something that you may be interested in. Thanks everyone for watching. That's it for this video. I will see you guys in a little bit with another one. Take care. Hey Turtle fans, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to follow me on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's a good way to stay in touch with the channel. And also if you want, go ahead and give the video a share on your social media platforms, Reddit, Twitter, all that stuff. And let's spread Turtle Mania to the world. Once again, thanks everyone for watching. It really does mean a lot.